Steve was an 18-year-old boy who was unlike anyone else in the real world. He possessed hidden powers, abilities no one knew about. With just a flick of his fingers, he could move objects, fly through the air, and transform small things as if by magic. People thought he was strange, so Steve never shared his secret with anyone. His greatest passion, gaming. He would lose himself in every new fantasy based video game that came out, but one day a mysterious game appeared in front of him. Realm of Shadows. The graphics were unlike anything he'd ever seen. They felt real, almost too real. Without a second thought, Steve hit play, and something strange happened. A blinding light flashed across the screen, then everything went black. When Steve opened his eyes, he wasn't in his room anymore. He was inside the game, but this didn't feel like a dream. It felt real, almost too real. Steve looked around in confusion. He was in a strange city where everyone wore long black cloaks. The atmosphere was heavy, and a chilling silence hung in the air, like the entire town was under someone's rule. People's faces were blank, their eyes filled with darkness and sorrow. Steve tried using his powers, but nothing worked. He was just an ordinary human now. He pushed through a broken gate to explore further, but before he could go far, a group of black armored guards surrounded him. "You're an outsider," one of them said. "You must be taken to Queen Elila." It was the first time Steve had heard that name, Queen Elila. They dragged him into a large, dimly lit hall. In the center, under a soft beam of light, sat a commanding woman on a throne, Queen Elila herself. Her eyes held a lifetime of pain, loneliness, and terrifying power. As Steve stepped into the grand hall, his feet slowed on their own. Standing before him was a woman cloaked in flowing black, a royal figure wrapped in mystery, Queen Elila. Her face was glowing, yet cold. Her eyes were like frozen steel, emotionless and piercing. A faint smile danced briefly on her lips before fading. On both sides of her stood silent guards, and behind her shimmered a large curtain-like sheet of glass, glowing with moonlit magic. "Who are you?" Queen Alila asked, her voice sharp and searching. "I'm Steve," he replied with quiet nerves, but no fear in his eyes. "A gamer," he added, bowing slightly. "But I don't understand. How did I get here?" Queen Alila stared at him, not with pride, but as if she was recognizing something long lost. "There's something inside you," she said softly, "a rare ability to sense magic. You're the first human I've ever seen in this world who had powers even outside the game." Steve's mind raced. Was this really happening? Could this all be true? Queen Alila lifted a dark orb from beside her throne and gave an order to the guards. "Take him to the inner palace. I want time to observe him. There's more to this boy. Perhaps he's not just part of the game. Perhaps he's the one meant to change it." Inside the palace, everything felt strange. The air tingled with magic. The walls glowed faintly, and the people moved with a quiet sadness. Steve could feel the weight of fear surrounding them, but some eyes lingered on him, not with suspicion, but with hope. One of them, a girl named Laria, approached him and offered a gentle tour of the palace. She explained that Queen Alila had created this world long ago, but over time she had lost her way, consumed by control, fear, and punishment. "But your voice, your eyes, you're different from all of this," Laria whispered. Steve began to speak to people with kindness, with empathy. He didn't see them as characters or subjects. He saw them as brothers and sisters, people who deserved to be seen and heard. His warm heart, ability to feel their pain, and his naturally funny, uplifting spirit began to win everyone over. Behind the palace's enchanted mirrors, Queen Alila watched silently. Day after day, her curiosity grew. "Why is this boy changing me?" Steve had spent a few peaceful days inside the palace, bonding with the people. He listened to their stories, helped wherever he could, and treated everyone like family, not subjects. His simplicity and humorous nature brought something that hadn't been seen in a long time. smiles. One day, while he was outside in the garden playing with the children, the sky suddenly darkened. Loud bells rang across the palace. Guards ran toward the central hall. Laria turned pale with fear. They're back. Who? Steve asked. The Dark Raiders, she whispered. Enemy clans that attack once every year to provoke the queen and punish our people out of revenge. Steve rushed to Queen Alila, who stood tall and ready, her face hardened with power. We'll answer their attack with full force, she declared. But Steve stepped forward and stopped her. Give me a chance. Let me go. Maybe I can stop this war. Fine, without bloodshed. Queen Alila looked into his eyes, thinking deeply. Then she said, go. But remember this, if you fail, your loss will become mine too. Steve took the magical staff that Queen Alila had given him, a staff that responded only to his touch. With it, he rose into the sky, flying for the first time in the game world, but this time it felt real. Not virtual, not scripted, real. He reached the battlefield where the Dark Raiders stood waiting. They quickly surrounded him. Their leader, Zarnak, was a towering figure, a longtime enemy of Queen Alila. I don't want to fight, Steve said calmly. We're all human, your people and mine. We're all tired of this hate. Zarnak laughed coldly. And who are you to teach me? Steve raised his staff, but he didn't strike. Instead, he spun the staff in the air, releasing a magical wave that brought forgotten memories to life. Scenes from Zarnak's childhood, his mother's smile, and a vision of a world once filled with magic, warmth, and peace. The raiders stood frozen in shock. Zarnak's eyes welled up. This magic, it reminded me that we were once human too, he whispered. For the first time, Zarnak lowered his weapon and said, maybe it's time we chose peace, not war. Steve had just won a battle. Without shedding a single drop of blood, when he returned to the palace, the people greeted him like a true hero. And from afar, Queen Alila watched silently. A strange light flickered in her eyes. This boy, he's not just human, he feels like a messenger of something far greater. Under the cover of night, a cool breeze swept across the city. Alili sat alone in her private hall, silently observing her surroundings. Something inside her had started to change, something she had never felt before. Steve's kindness and humanity had pierced through the walls she had built around her heart. The strong, commanding smile of a queen had slowly begun to fade from Alila's face. Tonight, her heart longed for something different. It was time to call Steve. She summoned her servant and said, please send Steve to me. When Steve arrived, Alila looked at him in a way she never had before. There was something in her eyes tonight, something new, something real. You called for me? Steve asked gently. Alila paused for a moment before speaking. Yes, Steve, I need to talk to you about something important. Steve stepped closer, trying to read her eyes. What is it? Lowering her gaze slightly, Alila softly said, you're not just a friend to me anymore, Steve. You've become something more. Surprised, Steve didn't hide his smile. I've been feeling something too, Alila. Spending time with you is not just about friendship anymore. You're not just a queen to me. You've become a part of my life. The moments we share feel different. Alila turned her eyes toward him and said, when you're with me, I feel something I've never felt before. Your presence, your help, it brings peace. Being with you has helped me discover myself again. The kindness and love inside you, it's teaching me how to love myself. Steve's eyes sparkled with emotion. He had never felt this way about anyone before. What he felt in his heart now stood openly and with respect before Alila. Alila, he said, it took me time to understand it, but what's happening between us is real. You're not just a queen. You've become my world. You've become a part of my life. A soft light glowed in Alila's eyes, something never seen before. She gently placed her hand on Steve's and said, Steve, I want to take the next step in my life with you. Do you want to live your dreams with me? Steve held her hand and smiled warmly. I want to spend every moment with you, Alila. You are the most beautiful part of my life. That night, the bond between them evolved from friendship into something deeper, a true romantic connection. Elila, once just a queen, had now discovered her womanhood through her own emotions. And Steve, for the first time in his life, had found real love. Together, they were ready to begin a new journey, side by side. The end.